What's the most fucked up thing someone has told you about themselves after barely getting to know them? Temporary coworker tells me she was kidnapped, uped and beaten by her ex-husband. Burned with cigarettes, hand shoved in the garbage disposal, head beaten with a hammer. The incident resulted in a baby she somehow still has. And they're not even divorced, cause he won't sign the divorce papers. I work in a small town gas station. I'm trying to check out customers and she's reciting a true crime episode to me. The conversation started with mascara recommendations. It was the craziest thing I've ever heard. A customer explained to me the benefits of a coffee enema to heal everything from my acne to preventing cancer. I couldn't get her to leave me alone for an hour because it was dead and no one was there to help. I worked for a skincare counter in a department store. Like, if you don't need my products because cleaning your ass with coffee fixes it, why are you here? But she went on about how she started her kids on these and did their enemas until they could do this on their own. What? Then she also grabbed my hands and kept saying, promise me you'll try it. Promise me. She left after I promised. No, I didn't try it. A guy told me during our first shift that his youngest daughter was suicidal, his eldest daughter's boyfriend was terribly abusive, and his wife was sleeping with someone at her work. Apparently he'd just gotten out of jail after flying home from out of state, beating the acid out of his daughter's boyfriend, his brothers, and his dad, driving to his wife's work and beating the acid out of her boyfriend, then driving to the hospital to hold his daughter's hand after she had attempted suicide until the cops arrived to arrest him for aggravated assault. Stuck driving a coworker out to a remote gas plant to do a system install. He was kinda fucked up, but assumed it was just socially awkward it way. Nope. He starts telling me about him and his dad collecting NZ memorabilia and how proud he was of his German grandparents. Trying to make other small talk, and he would just trail off answering questions and start singing to himself. Thought for sure it'd end up on the news and a manhunt would be conducted. Second best story, met the neighbor right after we moved in and she started telling me about them wanting another kid, but doing the deed was hard because she was overweight and had bad knees and it just made it difficult. I'm a guy who never met her and have my kids playing mere feet away, so I can't call her batshit crazy. Chatted with a huge middle-aged dude in a bar once who, after about 2 minutes, told me that he had been in prison for bashing his dad's head in with a hammer. His dad used to beat his mom, and one day he'd had enough of it. Visited a coffee shop for the first time on holiday. Barista commented on my tattoos. I said thank you. She told me she's not allowed to get tattoos, but she cuts herself to enjoy the pain and that's nearly the same thing. I found a different coffee shop for the rest of the holiday. Had to get my picture taken for a visa, so went to a local photography shop that took the pictures and printed them out for you right there. I had been talking to the guy as he worked on other people's photos, and when I finally got my picture taken he started opening up about his family. Apparently his son was killed 3 years ago in a car accident, and he was telling me how much I reminded him of his son going to school for engineering. First generation college student, etc. The son was killed in his senior year, so didn't even get to graduate. He even showed me pictures, it was heartbreaking. To make things worse, he said he had a degenerative muscular disease and doctors had given him about 2-3 years before he'd be bedridden. He then went on to say his daughter was taking care of him and how she isn't married yet and deserves to live a young person's life, and man, it really put into perspective how bad some people have it. I still think about that guy to this day and hope he's doing well. I made the unfortunate mistake of inviting my old neighbor over when we were having a party. He had like 5 gins in my kitchen and confessed to an unsolved murder in Nunavut, Canada. He's in jail. Hitchhiking through New Zealand, I got picked up by a semi-driver. Awesome guy, but an hour into the drive, started unloading every bit of personal information he could. How has cheated on his wife, screwed the company out of money, stolen items. It was like I was a priest in a confession booth. When I asked him why he told me all of that, he said it's been eating him up inside for years and telling me helped get it off of his chest. He said I had no idea who he or anyone he knew was, so it felt like I was the perfect person to unload on. Used to work at a ski resort and was working in a different area than I normally work. Well, this lady who I was working with found out I was slightly acquainted with her fiance and proceeded to tell me all about how his family hates her and is mean to her and all about his substance abuse issues. I don't remember all the details because it was a few years ago, but she unloaded on me with every issue of her relationship and I'm like, I'm just here to work. I didn't really even know her fiance. I avoided that lady after that. Bartender for a while. I'm here to meet a man to cheat on my husband with. New roommate told me her current boyfriend got kicked out of college for sexual assault and was under investigation for another case of sexual assault. Wanted my opinion about it within like 2 hours or meeting. Completely disregarded that my opinion was wrong. Yesterday I was walking with a friend of a friend after my friend left me. He started telling me benefits of NSFW and his pervertness out of nowhere, like telling me how it had affected him and his life personally. He told me how he masturbated in a train sitting with all his friends in such a way nobody noticed. Then he goes on telling me how he asked his father for help, for which his father asked him to drink buttermilk because apparently it reduces the addiction. My favorite ever was some stranger outside a bar. Seemed normal enough until she said my husband and I used to do MTH, but we don't anymore. I applauded her on this and then she followed up with, yeah, now we only have MTH weekends. Edit, typo and thanks for the awards. Started talking to a homeless guy outside of the grocery store. Learned he was fresh out of prison for shooting his brother who had slept with his ex-wife. I was buying a knack at Home Depot during Black Friday sales. There were none on the shelf, so an employee was helping me get the display model. He carried it all the way to the cashier for me. I thanked him and wished him a happy holiday season. A shadow crossed his face and he looked me straight in the eye and told me he killed someone a year ago during the holidays. He ran a man over and killed him. It was ruled an accident, but he said he won't ever celebrate a holiday again because of that. Edit to add more info and answer a couple questions. I thought the employee was f***ing with me as well. I did some searching online when I got home and found the news article, and he did indeed hit and kill a man. It was a super raining evening and just starting to get dark. The person killed was heavily intoxicated and veered into the oncoming traffic.